Welcome to r/Entitled People, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have two great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story, confronting entitled guests leads to ultimate showdown and eviction. The second story, firefighters versus HOA. Epic battle unfolds over nonsensical gate barrier. The first story is How to Get Kicked Out of a Hotel 101. Good evening, class. I hope we're all ready for today's lesson. Today, we're going to learn how to get kicked out of a hotel. Now, for the two a-holes in this lesson, we'll call them Karen and Kelly, because these are some of the most entitled a-holes I think I've ever met. It all started when I came into my normal work shift. It was a normal start to my shift. Manager gut-punching me, and my GM asking why we hit each other. I mean, why not? When my managers left, something minor happened that needed a detailed note. While doing that, Karen came into the building. Karen, my effing key isn't working, and that bee from this morning made it worse. Oh my, I thought to myself. Me, oh, I'm sorry for that, ma'am. I can remake that for you. I just need an ID and... Karen, I don't have an ID in my room, and I'm locked out of my room. This is Horse SH. Do your effing job better. She turned around and went down the hall. She was staying on the bottom floor. And she was walking. She yelled at me, F you. Oh my lovely. I heard her knocking on her room door. Her sister Kelly was in there. So I go to the back and texted both my managers about what happened. They said if Karen comes back and is doing the same thing, put my foot down and tell her to not talk to me like that, or she will be removed. Cool, simple, love it, awesomeness. Karen comes back. She exits her room, slams, and I mean slams that door, and comes in the lobby screaming and cussing me out. Me, ma'am, do not talk to me like that. If you continue, you'll be removed from the hotel. Karen, I'm talking to you how I want to talk to you. I'm the customer. Me, do not talk to me like that at all. Now please hand me your ID so I can remake your keys for you. Karen, no, you're gonna listen to me, and I'm gonna tell you how to do your effing job because I was a manager at a hotel. Me, do not talk to me like that again. If you do it one more time, you will be removed from the hotel. This is your last warning. Karen, you're being mean to me. Make my effing keys now. Me, ma'am? Karen, no, shut up. I'm talking to you, hear me? Do not interrupt me. I'm really holding my tongue now. Me, Karen, that's what I thought. This is why my keys don't work. The bee this morning didn't remake both my keys at the same time. So explain to me since this one isn't working now but the other does. Me, so that key in your hand was working the whole time since my coworker remade it? Karen, you're not gonna effing apologize to me? I was done being nice. Me, I'm not apologizing to you at all. I didn't do anything to you at all. You literally came in here screaming and cussing at me over your key. Give me your ID, give me the keys, so you can go to your room and leave me alone. Karen, no, apologize to me now, you hear me? Me, ID, please. Karen, stop interrupting me. Me, ID. Karen, no, listen to me. Me, I will listen to you once you give me your ID. She gives me the ID, I make her keys, I give the keys. I'm ignoring her now. Karen, your parents didn't raise you right. Who talks to a customer how you do? You're a poor excuse of a person. Me, I turned to walk off to text my managers. Karen, wow, really? You interrupted me and everything, now you're ignoring me? I am trying to say sorry to you. Worst apology ever. She kept yelling at me from the desk. I was texting my managers about everything. It got to the point I turned the corner and said, go to your room now. I am not talking to you at all. Karen gets angry and starts cussing and yelling more and goes to her room and slams that door. GM calls me. Me, Meow Hotel, how can I help you? GM, transfer me to that room now. Me, okie dokie. Not sure what happened after that, but my manager called me next. Manager, what exactly did you say to that woman? Me, I told her to stop talking to me how she is. I told her if she doesn't stop, she'll be removed from the hotel. I kept asking for ID and she kept screaming like a 5-year-old. Manager, you said nothing inappropriate to her? Me, no, why? Manager, she said she recorded you and that she has evidence of you getting violent and saying inappropriate things to her. Dumbfounded, I tried really hard not to giggle. Me, She just dug her own grave. Manager: yeah, it sounds like. Transfer me to the room. I transferred. 10 minutes later, I get a call from our customer service complaint line. Kelly in the room called them. The woman who was dealing with the case said, she said you attacked her sister over the counter. Said very inappropriate things to her, borderline sexual. First off, this woman was the least bit worthy of a catcall. Second off, ooh, F no, duh, F man. I told the lady to give me a case management number and pass it on to the managers. This is in their hands now. I texted it to them and told them what the casewoman said. GM calls me back and said, GM, I want them out now. Heck no. I'm pulling up the security cameras. I transferred her to the room. Manager called me next and was ranting about how she should have kicked out that woman earlier this morning. This wasn't the first issue with her, I guess. GM calls me back and said they have 15 minutes to get out. She told them about the cameras. She said Karen started yelling and cussing at her, and sometimes was just screaming, which I could hear down the hallway. GM told them if they come to the desk to talk to me, GM was currently watching the cameras watching them leave. She told them if they come to the desk to talk to me, she would be calling police for harassment and disturbance of the peace, and she'll throw trespassing on top of it, because GM and manager told to leave multiple times each. They went out the back doors, never stopped by the desk. Kelly and Karen quietly left, and I sat in the back room singing show tunes and doing homework. The second story is something a little different. One fire department's humble fight against an HOA. While I'm fortunate enough to not live in a neighborhood with an HOA, I'm a firefighter for a suburban district that's chock full of them. Big ones, small ones, old ones, brand new ones. HOAs effing everywhere. For the most part, they aren't a hassle. They gate off their private roads, but as long as they put a sensor on it or a padlock that uses our standard department key, it's not an issue. Enter the Views. The Views are condos built in the late 70s, and as far as I can tell, the only view that they have is of a freeway on-ramp and some eucalyptus trees. The Views were built along a narrow road that starts and ends off of the main road, making one big loop about a quarter-mile long with a couple cul-de-sacs branching off. It's important to note that the driveways for each end of the loop are about 30 feet apart, off of the same road. The Views have a lot of older residents, so we're there semi-frequently for medical aids. People smoking out their kitchens when they forget about the food they left on the stove, and even the occasional structural fire. Responding there is annoying, because they built speed bumps about every 25 feet along this loop. So once you're in the Views, you're not getting anywhere fast. Annoying, but it's a private road, so they can technically build as many speed bumps as they want. Enter the chain. About a third of the way along the loop from the first driveway, there's a chain across the road, padlocked to a steel pole on one side. It's a generic master brand lock to which we do not have a key. Why is it there? What does it do? Why would anyone build something like that? The answer to all three of those questions is who the F knows. The chain has been in place as long as I've been working at this department, and no one can tell me exactly why it's still a thing. Phone calls to the HOA regarding the chain went unanswered and unreturned. The problem with the chain is its location. If we're responding to an address that's closer to the first driveway, but just past the chain, we would have to go the long way around to get there. The operative word here is would. When COVID was really ramping up in early 2020, we were at the Views a lot. Sometimes 2 or 3 times a shift. Approaching from the main road, we always take the first driveway, because F taking the long way. Someone called 911. We're going to get there quickly. That's what we're paid to do. So when the address came up on the other side of the chain, it was unanimously decided that we take the path of least resistance. Enter the bolt cutters. Every time we needed to get to an address past the chain, I would hop out of the engine, grab the bolt cutters, and snip a link. Chain goes down, engine and ambulance go through. Simple solution. After about a week of this and many mysteriously replaced chains, the enigma of the chain was finally revealed. One night, as I have a hapless link firmly in the grasp of my bolt cutters, I hear a shrill shriek. Stop! A middle-aged woman comes speed-walking out of the condo right next to the chain. I'm the HOA president. That's there for a reason. I want to hear all about that reason, but we're here for a response and the clock is ticking. Snap! Another link is broken. The chain falls slack and onward we go. We resolve that we'll stop by her unit after we clear the call to let her know what a nuisance the chain is and that something needs to be done about it. This course of action was ultimately unnecessary, as HOA president took it upon herself to huff and puff after us as we drove away and came speed-walking up again as we pulled up to the response address. I went inside with the ambulance crew, but I could hear her shrieking at my captain outside. We wrap up the call, get the patient loaded into the ambulance, and she's still going off on him. What it basically boiled down to was that she took it upon herself to install the chain, because she didn't want people using the road as a thoroughfare. The reasoning behind this is an utter mystery to a rational mind, because it's a loop. That begins and ends on the same road, 30 feet apart. No one is using the views as a thoroughfare. The chain got installed where it is because that's where her condo is. She demands that we just go the long way for addresses past the chain. We explain that it hinders response time. She does not accept this. It takes my captain asking her that if her unit was on fire and we were responding from the other direction down the main road, would she want us to take an extra minute going the long way, or just cut the chain and get to her unit faster? She acquiesces that she had not considered this, but also refuses to do anything about the chain. War it is then. Every opportunity we got, we cut that effing chain. Never maliciously, only out of necessity, but it was necessary to the point where it was getting comical. A pile of snapped chain links lay discarded in the gutter. She made numerous attempts at peace. What if we just notified her when we needed it unlocked? Yeah, no. What if we just cut a link on one end instead of down the middle? Sorry, middle is faster. What if she gave us a key to the lock? Sorry, but if it's not the department-issued lock, we're not going to take the time to dig through the key box. One day, as I hopped out to gleefully cut the chain as always, something was different. Zip ties. Tired of buying new chains, or perhaps the chain fund had dried up, HOA president had resorted to zip tying the chain back together where we had cut it. She even attached a tag saying fire department cut zip tie only. After consulting with my captain, we decided upon the most prudent course of action. I didn't have a pair of scissors on me, but I sure as SH had a pair of bolt cutters. Snap! Dead center in one of the remaining links of the chain. And so it went, as the chain got gradually shorter and shorter and became more zip tie than chain. Despite her rushing out of her condo when the engine pulled up to the chain, we were always faster with the bolt cutters. The chain has been fully replaced a couple more times, and the same cycle has ensued, until one day last week when everything changed. Enter the gate. As we responded to the views, we pulled up to the chain. I already had the bolt cutters out and ready to go, only to be greeted with the most unexpected surprise. Where the chain had once stretched across the road, impotent in the face of our departmental onslaught, now loomed a two-armed swinging gate. A beefy one, too. They definitely addressed some new HOA fees to pay for this beast. On cue, out came HOA president. This time she said nothing, only crossed her arms in defiance and looked on with a smirk. I assessed this new obstacle for a second. Too thick to ram through, plus that would damage the engine. Tubular steel mounted on concrete anchored posts, so no just lifting the gate off the hinges. Looks like you'll be taking the long way from now on, she said, clearly having played out this exact scenario in her head countless times since having the gate installed. And she would have been right, except the arms of the gate were secured by a length of chain wrapped around and padlocked. I looked straight at HOA president as I lined up the bolt cutters on a chain link and the padlock shackle. Snap! I've never seen someone visibly deflate the way that HOA president did at that moment. I pushed the gate open and the engine drove through. As I climbed back into the engine, I heard her call out, "At least close it behind you." I probably don't need to tell you that I left that bee wide open. The icing on this cake is that we sent out fire marshal to check it out. While the chain technically met the definition for impeding emergency vehicle access, we let it slide due to it being so easily bypassed. The gate, however, was a massive violation of county codes. Despite being a private road, the number of residents along the loop and the views stipulated that any gate shall be automatically opening and have an emergency vehicle sensor. The gate fits neither of those criteria, so boom, 30-day notice to remove that SH or face massive fines from the county for impeding emergency vehicle access. So in summary, we waged a years-long battle against one HOA president's desperate grasp to control a problem that never existed in the first place. And if that doesn't capture HOAs in a nutshell, I don't know what does. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Have a good day.